right, hey everybody, another episode of Nerds Drink Whiskey. Always sip, never slam. We're here at Doggers in Yelm again, but we're going to do something a little different on this episode. Recently I came across a top 10 list that I got to say greatly offended me. It was the top 10 mixed drinks for men. And I'm okay for that. It was like, all right, list of mixed drinks for men. What offended me was they had their top 10 list, and then they had honorable mention. And the honorable mention, one of the ones that made honorable mention, didn't make the list. The Manhattan.
Blasphemy.
How does the Manhattan not make a list, a top 10 list of best drinks for men? If you're to do it's... But that's what the gangsters drank, you know? I mean, if you watch The Simpsons, what's Manhattan is a woman's drink. Manhattan is a woman's drink. Oh, that's just... But, all right, so I don't know, should we start with 1 or 10?
Well, I say we each start with our mixed drink top, and then maybe we'll open it up for some suggestions of what we think the top 10 is.
And then we'll put a bit of order.
I think if we're going to make are we going to start with 1 or 10, though?
Oh, one each. We'll go around. Yeah.
Okay. So my vote for number 1 mixed drink is a drink that a lot of people do not know this, but this mixed drink is supposed to be titled the Lemmy. And it is the Lemmy is more commonly known as Jack and Coke. And so the Lemmy is if you specifically use Coca-Cola and you specifically use Jack Daniels, that is not just a Jack and Coke anymore. That is called the Lemmy, named after the now deceased vocalist for the band Motorhead, because that was his drink for most of his life. So my vote for number 1 is the Lemmy. That is the most manly mixed drink you can have. Gabe, what's your thought?
I can honestly say I'd have to agree with you. That's probably the industry standard as far as I'm concerned with manly mixed drinks. It's got to be the Lemmy. You know, I've got one that's right below it, but yeah, the Lemmy is number 1
So what's
me.
your number 2?
My number 2 would probably be a Rusty Nail.
For those who just don't know, what's in a Rusty Nail?
A Rusty Nail is actually Scotch and Drambuie.
It's a very thick, gritty liqueur. Would that be considered a liqueur?
Yes, Drambuie is more of a liqueur.
Yeah.
Kind of a cinnamon flavor.
Yes,
You were saying.
cinnamon or licorice.
Okay. And so Mark was telling me about this list on the drive over. And as far as I'm concerned, the only mixed drinks that should go on that list are whiskey and ice. That's the mix.
Whiskey and another whiskey?
Right, whiskey and mix it with a whiskey. Or, although, I mean, so that aside, what got me into whiskey and such as I started drinking whiskey sours, because that's what got me into the whole whiskeys, and then, you know, less and less sour mix as time went on. And now it's, whiskey sour, hold the sour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ed, what's your vote for number 1?
I'm with you on that. I do not drink mixed drinks. Occasionally I'll drink a whiskey ginger if I'm just looking to be cheap. That's not my drink.
I prefer a whiskey ginger to a whiskey Marianne.
Yeah, exactly. Ginger's definitely better than Marianne. Like you said, whiskey and water, whiskey and saliva, that's my favorite.
But there you go.
As long as it's your own.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly, as long as it's my own. I would have to go for a manly drink, Scotch and Soda. That always seems like a manly drink, gangster kind of thing.
I was actually going to mention that myself. I agree with you entirely. A Scotch and Soda, that just works very, very well.
Anybody got anybody have their anything in what is that?
With
Bloody
whiskey?
Mary.
A Bloody Mary, okay.
Bloody Mary was a Bloody Mary is one of the drinks that they made on the I think that made their list. I thought it should be on the list, but maybe a little lower than.
Are we doing these not necessarily whiskey drink, or are we?
I'd say
top
mixed
10
drinks.
mixed drinks.
We're going to stray away from strictly whiskey on this episode. But
I
yeah,
didn't realize that. I just needed to know for my own.
Bourbon and Squirt. I didn't even.
Never heard of that one. I've heard of Bourbon and Coke plenty of times.
Bourbon and Squirt, is that what I mean?
Yeah, that.
Drink Bourbon and Squirt. My mother drank like bourbon and squirt.
Wow, I guess Bourbon and Squirt is
That sounds
more
a lot
official
like
drink
the
than
whiskey
I
sour,
knew.
only you're going with the soda rather than sour mix.
It's not as sour as the
Okay, so yeah, because it's got all this extra, yeah.
So it's kind of a variation of the whiskey sour. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you've just given me something to try next time I go to the
Greyhound.
bar.
That's a great one.
Yeah. All right. So
Over here, she mentioned Greyhound.
What is that?
She mentioned
Oh,
a
yeah.
Greyhound over here, which is vodka and grapefruit juice. I'm a big fan of those.
Okay.
Great choice.
Okay.
So, does Doggers have squirt?
No, that's why I say bring your own.
Oh, so if you want to,
Bring your own squirt if you
yeah,
want
you got
to.
to bring your own squirt if you want that at Doggers.
But if you bring a little squirt, they got to stay in the all ages section. So, all right. Well, I don't know. I'm wondering if we should make this list up and then put it online for the voters. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe take
Yeah.
some suggestions.
I-
What's your manly mixed drink of choice
Yeah.
for the times when you don't want it the way it's supposed to be?
So now there's the Manhattan and what's
We
the
should
other one?
add like the James Bond drink, martinis.
Yeah, I was
There we
gonna
go,
say
martinis,
martini.
okay.
Martini is
And
important.
I think if it wasn't for James Bond, I'm not sure martinis would fit, but James Bond, I think, made that a manly drink.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, he
so-
did.
What about
There we
An
go. That's the one I was trying to think
old-fashioned.
of.
There we
That's
go.
the one I was, Carra, the camerawoman, saved me on that one. I was trying to think of the old-fashioned. So those, I mean, if you're really going for a true mixed drink, the two most manly, truly mixed drinks are the old-fashioned and the Manhattan, to me. Those are the, yeah. So, I don't know, is there any others that we're missing?
Trying to think, are there any movie drinks that we could think of?
Movie
Kinda
drinks?
Dirty drinks, something that like is coined by a movie, like James Bond with the martinis. Just vodka.
vodka martini?
Well, vodka martini? Okay.
Yeah. So martinis,
There's plenty of
Bloody Marys.
drinks in the movies, but they're not, you like Dirty Harry drank Oli beer,
Well, yeah,
but
yeah.
that's not a mixed drink.
That's not a big, okay. I don't know, I think that's pretty much the list. So
Yeah, I think
Ed,
so.
why don't you read off the list, and we're going to put a poll in the comments in this section. We're going to put a poll up, and we want you guys to go to our Facebook page and to our nerdsdrinkwhiskey.com and vote on what you think the most manly mixed drinks are. So Ed, read off the list. What do we got?
All right, the top 10 manly mixed drinks we have are the Lemmy, which is like a Jack and Coke.
Well, it is a Jack and
It
Coke.
is
If
a
you
Jack
use
and
specifically
Coke.
Jack and specifically Coke, then it's a Lemmy. If you use just cola and bourbon, then it's not a Lemmy.
Gotcha.
According to Food and
I
Beverage
absolutely hate
Magazine.
cola mixed with anything
Correct.
liquor, so I don't know. We have a Rusty Nail, coined by Gabe here. Whiskey Sour, Jeff's choice. I chose the Scotch and Soda. We also have the typo. No, I can read it. It's just autocorrect. Changed bourbon to burning. So Bourbon and Squirt.
Burning and squirt is something entirely
Burning
different.
and Squirt.
Burning
You should
squirt,
go see a doctor.
okay.
Yeah, that
Go
one
see a
needs to
doctor if
talk
you have burning and Squirt.
Go see a doctor. And don't comment, don't leave that, and don't leave your doctor's notes in the comments. We don't want to read that.
Absolutely not. We want nothing to do with that, thank you.
I kind of want to know the diagnosis. No. Greyhound. We have the Greyhound. We also
Greyhound.
have, huh? Martini and the vodka martini.
I have a great joke about martinis.
A great joke
Hold
about
on, hold
martinis.
on.
We better get
here
this.
we
Got a
go.
joke about martinis. So,
It was actually at work one day, a customer called and asked questions about our product, and then at the end, she told me, have you ever had a martini? And I said, well, no, I haven't. And she said, well, I'll tell you something. A martini is like a good pair of breasts. 2 is just right, 3 is too much, 1 is not enough.
unless you're Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think the three-breasted woman is okay if you're Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Or Al Bundy, because Al Bundy said one on the back for dancing.
Well, there you go, Al Bundy, yes. So, all right, cool.
Last on our list was the Old Fashioned.
The Old Fashioned from Carra, the camerawoman. I was trying to remember it, but I failed miserably. So cool. So if you have any that we missed, or if you just want to go to the poll and vote yourself, let your opinion be known, and we will post this on a future episode. I think. leave those up for a week, see
About
what
3 or 4
people have to
weeks.
say. Yeah. So, all right. So, what do we have as far as nerd news? Now, for those of you who don't know, if you go to our Facebook page, if you follow us on Facebook, I do daily nerd news posts. These guys are going to try and jump in and help me with that because I can only do about three, four stories a day, but hopefully with their help we'll be able to punch that up and do a little bit more. And then at the end of this episode, we always kind of compile them up into the nerd news of the week. But Ed, you've got some stories that we did not cover in the dailies. What's that?
I do, and given how far out this is, I'm ready. I don't have a lot of info at this moment, but I do have a few couple things. One thing, has anybody watched the new Lost in Space series?
I do. My wife and I are trying to get through it. It's pretty good. I hear that for some reason, some of you ladies have a robot fetish now.
Yeah, Kara and I, we binge watched it in just a couple days, I think. We watched it.
Hold on. Another audience comment. We got to make sure it's heard. Okay, hold on. What do you have to say about the robot?
Well, robots, they don't talk, and they might actually want to cuddle with you, so.
All right.
At least you can program them too, if not. So that's a great show. If you haven't seen it, check out Lost in Space. But the news is it was just renewed for a second season. We could look for that in about a year because this show has been out for maybe a month or so. But so that's good news. Great show. Something I didn't put in my notes, but I want to mention is anybody a fan of the Karate Kid? You've seen it all.
Cobra Kai.
Nobody
Cobra Kai.
care anymore about the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
However, on
Cobra Kai?
what's that?
Is this about Cobra Kai? Yes.
And it's on YouTube Red, unfortunately. I binge watched that one day. It's hilarious. It is great.
Now, do you have to pay for YouTube Red, or is that free?
You do. The first 2 episodes, they'll let you watch for free to get you sucked into it.
Yeah.
But then you have to pay for the rest of it through YouTube Red. I don't know what it costs. If there's a free trial, and there probably is.
I think it might be like $9.99 a month or something.
It's, I think it's like 10 episodes or something, so you can binge watch it really quick.
Not, sort of related in the Kung Fu area. I don't know if any of you have seen Kung Fury.
Yep.
They're doing a sequel to that, I hear.
Well, yes, they're doing a sequel of Kung Fury, which is a homemade 80s homage. And the sequel featuring Michael Fassbender and some other people that pick up where the first one left off is actually getting a big budget production full on. But right now, Kung Fury, the original, is free on YouTube. If you love the 80s, you have to watch this movie, and it sounds like plenty of our folks, in the audience do. So yeah, I would highly recommend. It is, definitely worth the 30 minutes.
That sounds cool. I got to go check that out.
And I believe, I think we're all in agreement, the number one character from that is Triceratops. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically it this week for Nerd News. Not a lot going on because all of the recent stuff I've pretty much gone over the last few weeks. As time goes on, obviously, we'll have more stuff. It'll be on the website. It's going to be posted to Facebook.
And we'll cover that in the daily. There's definitely going to be more news in the daily nerd news updates we post on Facebook, and weekly news we do at the end of each episode. So do we remember what the whiskey is we're trying next week?
So next week, we have not decided. We are leaving it up to a audience vote.
Oh, yes, that's right. So when we shut off the camera for this one, the audience is going to decide of what whiskey that Dogger serves we're going to try next. So we're leaving our lives in their hands, and so you audience members, start talking about what whiskey you want us to try next for next week on Nerds Drink Whiskey. Here's some nerd news. Legal claim might kill new Friday the 13th Again content. Original film scriptwriter Victor Miller claims he wasn't employed when he wrote the movie. So he is looking to terminate a grant of rights and reclaim ownership of the property. Miller's lawsuit leaves the future of the franchise hanging in the balance. The Marvel Cinematic Mastermind Kevin Feige has spoken. Kevin Feige gave a cryptic and vague update on the Fantastic Four X-Men. Kevin Feige stated that he's waiting to hear back if the Fox-Disney merger will grant the MCU access to the Fantastic Four and X-Men roster of characters. I'm just sitting waiting for a phone call to say yay or nay, but obviously it would be nice to have access to that entire library. Ron Howard feels bad about Solo? Director Ron Howard has been watching the tepid turnout for his Solo: A Star Wars Story. Howard responded to a woman on Twitter with, "As a director, I feel badly when people who I believe will very likely enjoy a movie don't see it on the big screen with great sound." Solo earned $176 million domestically in its first 17 days at the box office. Apple banned cryptocurrency mining? Apple is worried about the battery drain from background cryptocurrency mining. Apps may not mine for cryptocurrencies unless the processing is performed off-device. Apple's App Store guidelines for iOS now say the requirement was absent from the same document just a few weeks ago. 3 other Game of Thrones prequels are in active development. There was originally 5 total possible Game of Thrones prequels. Author George R.R. Martin cleared some things up. 3 more Game of Thrones prequels, set in different periods and featuring different characters and storylines, remain in active development, the author wrote. Dresden Files author Jim Butcher was recently asked how close he sticks to his original 20-book outline. He was at the Tribeca Barnes & Noble store in New York City for a Q&A and signing session. Jim Butcher's answer was, religiously. He also let it be known that he is getting married in September. Lastly, he estimated that it would be about 5 months until the next book in the Dresden Files will be released. Is it too early to start my wish list to Santa Claus? Amazon might save Lucifer. Last month, Fox canceled the show Lucifer. According to new Amazon studio head Jennifer Salke, the streaming service has held conversations about potentially giving new life to Lucifer. "We were talking about Lucifer," Salke said. "I'm not sure where we are on that. I know that International, especially the UK group, was really bullish on that show. I haven't checked in on that today, but I heard conversations were ongoing on that yesterday." Skyrim for Amazon Alexa is real. What was thought to be a joke turns out to be legit. The game seems to play like a classic MUD, but with voice commands. You can play by tapping Alexa's circular icon on any Amazon installed device and saying, "Alexa, open Skyrim." You can also go to the product page and enable it on your devices. Avengers Infinity War makes $2 billion worldwide. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know that Avengers Infinity War has been raking in the cash at insane levels. It has broken several records. We can now add another one to that list. Avengers Infinity War broke the $2 billion mark worldwide. Have you seen it yet? Beaver Butt Whiskey, anyone? A New Hampshire-based distillery has created a bourbon with an interesting flavoring. The scent oils found in the castor sacs of beavers, New Hampshire beavers that is. Eau de Musk is a high-end 88 proof bourbon distilled by Tamworth Distilling and Mercantile of Tamworth, New Hampshire. The beaver-specific scent that is in this craft bourbon is called castorum. It's in everything from natural foods to fruit flavorings to cigarettes. The Food and Drug Administration lists castorum as a generally recognized as safe food additive. Tamworth Distilling and Mercantile's Eau de Musk, which is a limited release, is sold in a 200 milliliter bottle for $65. George Lucas' Star Wars sequels would have been all about midichlorians. Sure, Disney has done a horrid job with the Star Wars franchise, but it sounds like George Lucas would have done even worse. Essentially, he was planning to lean into the stuff that fans really hated about the Phantom Menace, specifically midichlorians and the scientific explanation for the Force. Do you think this would be worse? As bad? Or better? Stan Lee's business manager arrested on suspicion of filing a false police report. The man Stan Lee recently said is the only person who represents him in any of his affairs was arrested Monday on suspicion of filing a false police report, the Los Angeles Police Department confirmed to The Hollywood Reporter. Kia Morgan was arrested around 1 p.m. and taken into custody by the LAPD's Hollywood Division. His bail was set at $20,000. He is due back in court July 2nd. Police did not release the exact details of the arrest, but it may have something to do with the report earlier this month that Lee was allegedly confronted at his home by two gunmen who demanded money from the 95-year-old Marvel icon. Stranger Things star Millie Bobby Brown leaves Twitter after she becomes subject of homophobic meme. The page went missing after multiple images of the actress were turned into anti-gay tweets, culminating in a meme that gained steam on the social media platform. Brown, who is only 14, became the subject of a series of photoshopped images depicting her as homophobic, as well as a hashtag #TakeDownMillieBobbyBrown, which first appeared in November and resurfaced in June, coinciding with the beginning of Pride Month. Although we at Nerds Drink Whiskey believe this to be an extremely small group of people and not true nerds, we believe that this toxic behavior shouldn't be tolerated. Again, these are not true nerds, but trolls. HBO's Watchmen has begun filming in Macon, Georgia. Sets haven't exactly been a secret. We've already seen some photographs of the alternate world the show is creating, which exists in the same superhero-filled and science fiction tinged timeline we visited in Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons' rightfully iconic comic book miniseries. A Slash Films reader who lives in Macon snaps some new photos of the redressed city. What's on display is especially interesting if you're familiar with the source material. These images could be considered potential spoilers, so consider this your one and only warning. For the full story, including the photos, check out the link below. Saturday, June 23rd, Nerds Drink Whiskey returns to Doggers. We need you to come hang out with us. Drink with us. And of course, be nerdy. Eat $1 tacos with us starting at 1 p.m. We start recording at 2 p.m. Free shot glass if you ask a question, fact check us, or even just give your opinion. If you don't come, we'll force you to watch Star Wars Christmas Special. It's so bad that it makes The Last Jedi look good.